VFW. Today we are gathered here this morning for a short ceremony honoring those veterans that were lost at sea. Assisting me in this ceremony is Navy Chief Petty Officer Dan Gillespie. He's the captain of our Honor Guard. We also have members of the Amery VFW, Amery Legion, the Amery VFW Ladies Auxiliary, the Amery Cadet Band led by Mrs. Johns, our local Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, and Pastor Tim Bjorgi is assisting me this morning. We will now commence with the honoring of our lost comrades. Chief Petty Officer Gillespie, will you proceed with the military honors for those lost at sea?
Prepare to fire. Ready, aim, fire. Aim, fire. Aim, fire. Present arms. Honor Guard, order, arms.
The flowers may wither, but the spirit of which they are a symbol of will endure until the end of time. Thank you for joining us this morning as we honored our veterans that we lost at sea. Chief Petty Officer Gillespie, will you lead us to the cemetery, please?
Honor Guard. At the slow pace, forward, march. Left, 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 right, left. Left, right, left. Left.
Paper said I was going to do a poem. It is a poem, but I made it into a song. It goes, we're proud of our veterans. We're proud of our veterans, men and women so brave. fought for their country to keep old glory away. They served their country to keep their nation free from tyranny. And despots would rob us of our liberty. They were the marksmen who plowed the land, who reaped the grain and worked the farms by hand. They worked in the shops and they punched the clocks to graduate from school who lived down the block. They shouldered their rifles and answered the call. These brave young men and women ready to give their all, so that we at home could live in peace and pursue the right to live in liberty that we always knew. The valiant mothers who hid the pain as they said goodbye to sons and daughters as they held tears in their eyes. The fathers who looked and watched them with pride as they went away. They are the ones who gave us the veterans we honor today. Back to Bunker Hill, the Battle of the Alamo. From Flanders Field to the War of St. Lo. From the War of 1812 to remember the Maine. Pearl Harbor, Iwo Jima, and Alsace-Lorraine. The brave soldiers who fought in Korea and Vietnam. We are proud of you for your service to Uncle Sam. As we ponder the battles the Gulf War comes to mind, Afghanistan and Iraq against terrorism in our time. The brave soldiers who fought in Korea and Vietnam, we're proud of you for your service to Uncle Sam. The veterans deserve the respect and the honor they're due. Many still live with the terror and the pain they've been through. It is because of the veterans we enjoy our liberty. For old glory waves proudly o'er the land of the free.
At this time, I would like everyone to stand for the Star-Spangled Banner performed by the Cadet Band, directed by Tim Johns.
Honor guard, attend, hut, present, arm.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order, arm.
This flag represents all those killed in combat, but also those who died while in service of our country, such as in training accidents. Accidents which are all too frequent, only to be recognized by a clip in the hometown newspaper, as was the case in our hometown newspaper in the not so distant past. Today we're here to honor and remember all those that gave all in service to our country. May God continue to bless the United States of America, land of the free because of the brave. At this time, it is my privilege to introduce our guest speaker, Mr. Dane Deutsch.
Honor guard, parade, dress.
Good morning. Thank you, Commander. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, fellow veterans, it is indeed a tremendous honor for me to deliver this Memorial Day message dedicated to the memories of the courageous men and women in uniform who are serving, have served, and who served and died in the service of our country. So in honor and with deep respect, I want to share with you 3 words that all who served in the military have heard and truly understand. Duty, honor, country. Duty, honor, country. These 3 hallowed words are the motto of the United States Military Academy. General Douglas MacArthur said that they were words that build character, and they help us to understand our roles as custodians of our national defense. He was right. Today, on this memorable and prestigious occasion, and in dedication to all those souls that have bravely served and or died for our country, whom gave their very lives fighting for our liberties and freedom, I would like us to remember the 3 words in that motto: duty, honor, country. But today, more specifically, I would like us to focus on the word honor. 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 We have all heard the word honor used before. I was a Cub Scout and a Boy Scout for many years, and I was an Eagle Scout. Scouting was a very important part of my life growing up, and even in the Boy Scout oath it begins with, "On my honor." On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, and to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. Duty, honor, country. The greatest of these is honor. You see, without honor, there can be no duty. And without duty, there can be no sacrifice for country. Duty, honor, country. The greatest of these is honor. I think it's fitting and appropriate that honor is given its rightful place between duty and country. After all, it is the intersection of principles and values that allow us to carry out our duties and thus define the very character of our country. In his book, Never Fly Solo, Lieutenant Colonel Rob Waldo Waldman, an F-16 pilot, outlined several keys to paying the price of integrity, or in other words, becoming whole and living a true life of honor. Number 1, honor your commitments. Number 2, be a man or woman of your word. Number 3, do the right thing, even when no one is watching. Number 4, admit when you mess up and accept the consequences. And finally, number 5, never sacrifice your relationships or honor for money. Duty, honor, country. The greatest of these is honor. Waldo also asks a very important question, and one that, when answered, also answers how we can most honor our brave veterans, both living and dead. And the question is this: Are you and I the type of person worth fighting for? The answer to that question is yes. If you guard your character with honor, just as our veterans guarded our country with their duty to honor, character breeds success, and honor breeds duty to country. Duty, honor, country. The greatest of these is honor. A friend, fellow veteran, and one of my mentors in the United States Air Force Squadron Officer School was Colonel Lee Ellis. Lee wrote a book recently called Leading with Honor. His book is a story of his prisoner of war experiences in the Hanoi Hilton in Vietnam. In that book, Lee cautions us to lead with honor and explains what that means. He was a Hanoi Hilton prisoner of war during the Vietnam conflict for over 5 years. As a POW, he learned the importance of clarity about values and principles in one's own life. Lee said, quote, "In the Hanoi Hilton, he learned that leading with honor is about doing the right thing, even when it entails personal sacrifice," unquote. He says that it was his responsibility daily, that on a daily basis to guard his character, protect his honor, and stay the course through tough times and many years as a prisoner of war. It was the main goal of every POW to return home with honor. You see, even in the toughest of times, we must lead ourselves and others with honor. In other words, put other people's interests above our own, just as it says in the Golden Rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Duty, honor, country. The greatest of these is honor. Lee goes on to say, an important part of our character and our heritage is to appreciate the sacrifices that others have made for us. To appreciate those we lost, we need to reflect on the sacrifice they made. Like warriors throughout history, men and women sacrificed it all. They gave up the good life we live here today. They gave up seeing their parents grow old and their children grow up. They gave up the legacy they could have lived. So today we want to ensure that their legacy as heroes lives on in honor. They are heroes of our country, and we must ensure that their legacy as defenders of our freedom is not lost in history. We remember them, and we remember their sacrifice and devotion, unquote. Duty, honor, country. The greatest of these is honor. I want to finish by telling you a story about another prisoner of war, a friend and fellow prisoner with Lee Ellis in the Hanoi Hilton by the name of Charlie Plum. In Charlie's book, Insights to Excellence, subtitled Packing Parachutes, Charlie tells this story. And it goes like this. Recently, I was sitting in a restaurant in Kansas City. A man about 2 tables away kept looking at me, and I didn't recognize him. A few minutes into our meal, he stood up and walked over to my table. He looked down at me. He pointed his finger in my face and he said, "You're Captain Plum." I looked up and I said, "Yes, sir, I am Captain Plum." He said, "You flew jet fighters in Vietnam. You were on the aircraft carrier Kitty Hawk. You were shot down. You parachuted into enemy hands and spent 6 years as a prisoner of war." I said, "How in the world did you know all that?" He replied, "Because I packed your parachute." I was speechless. I staggered to my feet and held out a very grateful hand of thanks. This guy came up with just the proper words. He grabbed my hand, he pumped my arm, and he said, "I guess it worked." "Yes, sir, indeed it did," I said. "And I must tell you, I've said a lot of prayers of thanks for your nimble fingers, but I never thought I'd have the opportunity to express my gratitude in person." He said, "Were all the panels there?" "Well, sir, I must shoot straight with you," I said. "Of the 18 panels that were supposed to be in that parachute, I had 15 good ones. 3 were torn, But it wasn't your fault, it was mine. I jumped out of that jet fighter at a very high rate of speed, close to the ground. That's what tore the panels in the chute. It wasn't the way you packed it. So let me ask you a question, I said. Do you keep track of all the parachutes that you pack? No, he responded. It's enough gratification to me just to know that I've served. Well, I didn't get much sleep that night. I kept thinking about that man. I kept wondering what he might have looked like in a Navy uniform, a Dixie cup hat, a bib in the back, and bell-bottom trousers. I wondered how many times I might have passed him on board the Kitty Hawk. I wondered how many times I might have seen him and not even have said good morning, how are you, or anything. Because you see, I was a fighter pilot, and he was just a sailor. How many hours did he spend on that long wooden table in the bowels of that ship, weaving the shrouds and folding the silks of those chutes? I could have cared less, until one day, my parachute came, and he packed it for me. So the philosophical question here is this: how's your parachute packing coming along? Who looks to you for strength in times of need? And perhaps more importantly, who are the special people in your life who provide you the encouragement you need when the chips are down? Perhaps it's time right now to give those people a call and thank them for packing your chute. End of story. Well, our dedicated men and women in uniform have packed and continue to pack our parachutes by serving us with honor in fighting for our freedom. So today, as we leave this hallowed place, we know in our hearts what the answer to the questions of, are you the type of person worth fighting for? And how can we best honor our veterans this momentous Memorial Day? The answer to being that person worth fighting for, to best honor our veterans this Memorial Day, is being the person who is packing a parachute for others. Just as our veterans did for us, we need to lead a life with honor by guarding our character, protecting our honor, and serving others. So I encourage you to honor all of our veterans today. Tell them thank you and stay the course. Lead with honor. On my honor. Duty. Honor. Country. The greatest of these is honor. On my honor. Honor above all. Thank you to all our veterans. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you.
thank you to the Cadet Band. Now I would like to introduce Deb Handy, VFW Auxiliary President, who will now offer tribute to the memory of our departed comrades.
We place on our sacred shrine this cross as a symbol of eternity. Its color symbolizes life everlasting. Thus, in our grateful hearts, we memorialize the brave deeds of our soldiers, sailors, men, and Marines who have given their lives on land, on sea, and in the air.
Honor guard, left hand, put. Present, arm. Order, arm. Present, arm. Rifle squad, prepare to fire.